Here is Immortal Moments for explanation. Friends, like videos and subscribes to our channel. Immortality Season 6 Episode 34 Explanation. So let's start our explanation. The rain in the sky shrouded, and the raindrops were not the black raindrops when the Ghost Emperor used the Tuxian ***, but a faint golden color with dragon's breath, and a kind of thunder flashing force, and a sacred high above. Breath, this is the various strengths contained in Fang Han's body. There are Lei Li relics, there are dragon gods, there are 7 gods of life, the essence of the gods. The devil's complete cultivation of the magic road, killing the soul, endless resentment, blood is naturally dark colors. However, Fang Han did not kill the creatures. The blood naturally has a sacred atmosphere, and the display of the fairy tales is more pure and powerful. The ****** rain of the dragonfly will fall down and then burn, and the cold will lose 60 years of life. This is an extremely extravagant act, but Fang Han is now 90 years old, and extravagant. Hey! In the infinite ***** rain, Fang Han came out from the boxing, and directly smashed a circle of suffocating gas around the body of the wooden gang, killing him on his body. The Trojans flew out and squirted blood in the mouth. Fortunately, his body was a lower grade ware, called, which was his own body leaf. After thousands of years, it was compiled into. He is a disrepair, and it's hard to make a coincidence. He has become a giant of the ages, but he is not as rich as some of the disciples of the big martial art. He can have a good quality, and he is refining himself. In the middle of the road, he did not have the time to refine. On the small clothes, a large piece of green light emerged, which offset the square cold, but the clothes were broken everywhere. Originally, with the strength of Fang Han now, and then display the life-saving Tuxian ****, a punch can directly hit the lower quality equipment to explode. Decomposed into the essence of the most primitive, but the wooden man is a giant, can fully play the power of the next quality device, so now that small clothes is only slightly split, lost a lot of spiritual effects, a little sacrifice, it can be restored. Fang Han, you actually practice such a poisonous magic. The voice of the wooden Taoist people was shocked, and in the tone, there was a few fears. Yes, he is afraid. As the giant of the ages, the longest-lived character of the longevity, Wansha Wanyan, actually afraid. Now his strength is greatly damaged, and his vitality is restrained by the tree of the world of Fang Han, and Fang Han is even more willing to display the lifelong magic of the life, burning the essence, to kill him. He really felt the danger of falling. Now, he has a few regrets to kill Fang Han. Actually fell to such a field. Is this magical power poisonous? Ha ha ha, you are afraid, you are afraid. Since I am afraid, I will show it a few more times, let you know that I am amazing. Fang Han's fist actually did not kill the wooden Taoist, was resisted by the other's Taoist robes, and he was very surprised. He must know that this is the first time that he used the magical method of life loss to confront the enemy, not the giants. He will not display at all, and the life of a person is too precious. Even when he was facing the Van Hoff shadow and the smoke and water siege, he did not display it. Even when he was in the ring, when the fire broke out, he did not show it. And now, it is showing. However, the attack was not successful and was successfully resolved by the wooden Taoist. The rain of the sky gradually dissipated, and the majestic atmosphere began to subside. The power of Tuxian **** was used by Fang Han in a blow. His attack, self-confidence, even Wan Lianshan, Jiao Fei, Shui Wuyang, Xing Xie, such a master, can be beaten out of thin air, directly killing the spot. But I did not expect that the vanguard giant was much more powerful than he had imagined. However, since it was not successful, he did not mind, he came to the second, the third. Puff. 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 Among the shocked and distorted faces of the wooden people, Fang Han breathed a sigh of 5 times, and each time the blood was bigger than the first one, and every blood was ejected, and it was turned into its raining, falling down, and burning. In the blink of an eye, Fang Han actually displayed 5 Tuxian ****. Every time he casts a spurt of blood, he will consume his 60 years of life, and he will consume himself for 300 years. Life. After 300 years of life, it is consumed. This kind of madness, so that all people, is always a wooden Taoist, even the Black King, the Nebula Baby, and even the spirit of the sun and the moon, and the king of the blood of the night incarnation of the Holy King, are also extremely shocked. I feel the madness of Fang Han. It is only the system of Fang Han that can carry out 5 times of slaying and succulent continuation, and change any master of magic, even if there are thousands of years of life, but the body cannot stand such a devastating. And Fang Han's half-undead body can be. And his lifespan of 9,000 years is enough to squander. In order to kill the Van Hoch giant, he also rushed out. This is a great opportunity. If you change the wooden road, you will not be injured. Even if Fang Han squirts 50 blood and consumes 3,000 years of life, it is not necessarily able to kill each other. This is the power of the giants. Not good. Give me a break. The Longdao people who were temporarily trapped by the 8th Buddhism also felt that it was not good. The law of the heavens and the earth was inflated, and the power was increased by thousands of times. It actually shocked the 8 floating sects, and kept shaking. Black King, Nebula Baby, also all of them squirmed and spewed out a blood. Puff. At this moment, Fang Han squirted a piece of blood. This blood was not sprayed on the wooden path, but was sprayed against the 8 floats. Also played a tuxie and ***. Strong blood rain landed on the top of the 8 boys, and was suddenly absorbed by the pagoda. The demon inside once again increased its strength. At the same time, the sun and the moon, the great spirits, received a rich supply of vitality. The dragons were suppressed. The wooden Taoist people have long seen the situation, and they are ready to go, but they are being shown the door of the nose, and the bridge of the bridge is dead. Slowed down half a beat. In this pause, Fang Han's 5 reigns and massacres have completely fallen down and shrouded him. The blood of the bear is burning, and Fang Han seems to be a reincarnation of the demon god. The body is shaken and turned into more than a dozen shadows. Every shadow has killed 100 million horses, and his golden dragon power is even more intense, besieging to the wooden Taoist. The tyrannical mana, the flames, all kinds of supernatural powers, are constantly flashing. This piece of land, is shrouded in endless destruction, nightmares, ferociousness, cruelty, power. The old way and you fight. At this moment, the wooden Taoist people knew that they had escaped. It was already in vain. They did not think that Fang Han was crazy and the evil was at such a point. However, even at this critical juncture, he did not think about blasting his own world of law, because he knew that he was completely dead when he blew himself into the world. But now this hard fight, but there is a chance, even if it is hard work, the body is damaged, the law of the world is broken. As long as you escape a bit of vitality, you can also attach weight, have the original memory, you can start again, then it is much better to die completely. No one can describe the situation in which the 2 masters are hard-working at this moment. The blood and the rain are flying, and the strength of one stock is disturbed and becomes chaotic. The stream of light, straight into the sky, broke through the 9-day hurricane, rose into space, and then dissipated. The wooden Taoist, pedaling the dragon-shaped pace, running mana, all the magical cohesion, 1 palm and 1 palm shot, each palm, there is the power of the dragon, the surrounding mountains, one by one is directly pulled up. This is more than a day when Huotian is pulling the mountain. The power is much bigger. Fang Han is a figure flashing, his foot is stepping on a mountain-shaped step, which is the sacred step in the Miyama King boxing, and on the Golden Dan, a supreme magical power. The starless book is opened, the sky is endless. The power of the stars, do not infuse the money, the tree of the world of the eyebrows, and constantly draw from the fairy world. The 5 emperors and great devils, but also the 5 elements of the surrounding, all captured, into the body, the various magical powers in the Golden Dan, also began to work, hundreds of miles of souls, ghosts, screams, all into his body. The big phagocytosis is even more shocking, and the mana that the Trojans have smothered has been swallowed up by it. The 2 exchanged a few, and the palms and punches collided, and they all turned out hundreds of thousands of hands and collided together. With only a dozen breaths of time, the hands of the 2 men collided with millions of people. It's almost unbelievable and the power is incredible. Hey! After the two fight, they immediately separated, and dozens of peaks that were directly pulled up by the mana, exploding, rolling in smoke, dust rushing, such as volcanic eruptions, shrouded hundreds of miles, even blowing thousands of miles with the wind. Would tourist, Fang Han, take a break? After a blink of an eye, the body of the wooden tract suddenly exploded, turning into countless rains and flesh and blood. But it does not fall down, but around the air, constantly spinning, in the center of the flesh and blood, there is a tree of green gas condensed. There are a total of 64 branches, each branch is flowing differently symbol. Actually it is 64 kinds of magical powers. The Taoist people are the giants of the ancient times. The magical powers of cultivation are more than those of the mysterious secrets, and they have longevity and secrets. They have a long life and have enough time to cultivate magical powers. This tree of green air is the result of the mortal world of the wooden Taoist people. His flesh is also completely shattered. However, he could not bear the flesh of his body, want to gather together, and then run away. After looking for a master possession, swallowing up the blood, you can recover 1/10 of the repairs, which is better than your own hard work. The body of Fang Han also exploded. But his head is intact. The roots of the tree of the world are connected to the roots of the pieces on the skull, which resists the life of the Taoist people. If it is a change of the dragon road, Fang Han, the head is also broken. Because of the tree of the world, the restraint of the dragons is not tempered. This is also a good calculation for Fang Han. To kill the long-lived secret giant, you must pay the price of blood, and it is not unusual to be pulled back. However, the skull did not break, and Fang Han was not pulled back. Wooden people, you still want to escape here? My lifespan of 500 years, lost in vain. Fang Han has half an undead body, his head is not damaged, and instantly condenses into a real form, still the finished body, and he swallows a lot, the spirit of the wooden Taoist, nourishing himself, making up for some lost mana. Although it spurted 7 blood in a row and lost nearly 500 years of life, it was worthwhile to hit a wooden man who had only 30% of mana and a giant. A powerful idea swept across the spot. Yellow Spring Map. After concise the body, Fang Han saw the wood and earth people's law of the heavens and the earth, and the vitality was greatly hurt. The idea was conveyed to the map of Huangquan. The Huangquan figure suddenly expanded, and it actually rose into a full-scale sky with dozens of miles, jetting out the infinite magic. It is contaminated by the law of the heavens and the earth of the Taoist people. The plant has 86 six-leaf branches and leaves, and contains 64 kinds of magical, family trees, which immediately become dark and dark. The idea of? The wooden Taoist man made a crazy roar. The big tree is also expanding. I want to break the door of a nasal and fly away. Wooden people, you still want to run. You have been so badly injured, the body is completely damaged, the vitality is also badly hurt, the heart is full of clues. If I still cannot suppress you, then spread out, will be jokes. Fang Han ha, laughed, stepped out, his own life Jin Dan flew out, and then bombarded into the wooden path of the human beings. Boom! The wooden world of the Taoist people was shaken a bit, and the condensed vitality inside was once again broken up. The whole tree has shrunk by half. Fang Han, you are so poisonous, then I will go with you. Mudao people see that they have to be sucked in by the door of our nose. He also knows that as soon as they enter the map of Huangquan, they will never be lost, think of it here. He is going to blow his own world of law. However, he sneered, and a powerful thought came out. If you cultivate into an immortal body, even if it is a nose, you can't bind you. Unless I summon a reincarnation, I can completely suppress it. Your current strength is greatly damaged, and then the self-destruction is too late. The bridge of the bridge. A quaint, scarred, stone bridge contaminated with countless gods and bloods appeared under the wooden people. The wooden heaven's expansive world law, just about to erupt, was turned by Shichiao and entered the Huangquan map. It disappeared and was suppressed in the deepest place of Huangquan. Never give up in the world. Just waiting for Fang Han to refine. However, after suppressing the wooden Taoist people, Huangquan too also trembled, and it seemed to be overwhelming. It was 10 times more difficult than the suppression of the sun and the moon. This picture seems to be flying in the air. It is the Taoist people who use the Taoist technique and break free from bondage. It is too lively. In such a large situation of damage, I was able to struggle in the depths of Huangquan. The ancient giant is the giant of the ages. Although it is the first person in the longevity secret, it also shows the strength that makes the party chill and tremble. Fortunately, the strength of the other side is only 30%. Unfortunately, the other party's strength is restrained by the tree of its own world. Fortunately, I can have so many magic weapons. Fortunately, my life is very long, and half of the undead body can be used for self-squandering. Otherwise, it is himself who is dying now. Although there are so many lucky ones, Fang Han still defeated a giant of the ages and suppressed a master of longevity. Among the monastic circles, the master of the longevity secret is the myth, the legend, the supreme, the unattainable. It is like an emperor in the secular. Everyone has 3,000 scorpions, enjoying the boundless fun and lofty status. The characters in the mysterious secrets are impossible to fight against the ancient giants of the long-lived secrets. Even if they have the middle-class goods and the upper-quality goods, they can only protect themselves. However, now Fang Han created this myth. It also made the myth of the long-term secret masters shattered. Until the moment of success, Fang Han could not believe that he actually suppressed the wooden Taoist, giant of the ages. The ancient giants, really suppressed. The gods of the mysterious characters, suppressing the ancient giants. This is almost rare. Fang Han finally did it. Great, it is too powerful. Follow this master, well, definitely the scenery is infinite. The Black King saw this scene, and his eyes almost fell out of his eyes. Nebula Baby also grows his mouth. Sun and Moon Fine wheel two spirits, but also completely served Fang Han. There is a dragon who is left. Unfortunately, I have shown 7 times in the show, and the loss is huge, otherwise it can kill this person. Io is a very cold and fierce, and the loss of the Wooden Road people is close to 500 years. After the end of life, there is also a feeling of exhaustion. Continuously performing 7 times of slaying ***, the average master has long been screaming. What? The Wooden Taoist people even had no time to escape, and they were suppressed. Longdao people and Wooden Taoists practiced for many years, and the atmosphere communicated. When the Wooden Taoist was suppressed, he immediately knew that his heart was chilling. At this time, he also refused. Damaged his body, his arms suddenly shocked, squatted, and displayed arrow blood burst ***, suddenly 2 arms into 2 blood dragons, skyrocketing, only a shock, put the 8 Buddhism shocked off. 2 blood dragons. It was the transformation of his 2 arms. He shocked the 8 floating sects, the black secluded king above, the celestial spirit of the sun and the moon, and the reigning king of the Blood Night King. Moved the most powerful force of his own, and the buoyant spins, the 2 blood dragons are wrapped around. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the dragon's body swayed and rushed out to the sky, and the **** method was applied. It flashed in 1,000 miles and flickered, and disappeared into the sky. Actually escaped. This dragon roadman actually fled. If he killed him, give me a nap, I will be seriously injured. But he is now running out of light and eager to escape. Even both arms are abandoned, and there is no courage to fight with me. You are dead and alive, but you have run such a master, and you have endless troubles. And he has recovered his strength and is desperate, and I have to go with him. Fang Han is also feeling lucky, but it is a pity. Now, he finally knows the horror of the giants. I can't do anything to restrain the dragons. It seems that in the future I have to deal with the giants of the ages, and I have to be careful and careful. I have to go back and deal with the wishfulness. This is not like the Longdao people, the Wooden Taoist people are doing such a loose repair, and there must be a Chinese style in the hand. I am afraid I won't be able to win. However, when I absorbed the spirit of the Wooden Taoist man, I sealed his 64 kinds of sacred magical powers and sealed them in the 8 floating sects. I can continue to condense myself into the 9th weight of the magical powers. It can enhance the power of the 8 floating sects. Fang Han's heart is so cool that the harvest is absolutely big. Moreover, Fang Han seems to see that there seems to be a magic weapon in the wood and earth lore of the Taoist people. No explosions. Although there will be no such thing in the inside, the good things inside the elixir. But the remedy is certainly not less. Fang Han now lacks basic things. Because of the devils in the 8 Buddhism, there is a lack of food and magic. If you put millions of demons and every demon to prepare a flying sword and protect your body, how powerful. If you meet a few more kings, let me kill. It's a pity that Fang Han's heart is, I don't have any wealth, the people who cultivated the Tao, the wealth, the buddies, the law, the land. The financial ranks are in the first place, the importance is self-evident, but in the past few days, I was originally a boundless giant. Rich, now it's empty. Isn't it a life with wealth? Broken. When it was a pity in Fang Hanshin, the blood dragons that the 2 dragons had made their arms, had been smashed by the Wanda Baoguang of the 8 Buddhism and turned into the purest blood, and penetrated into the 8 floats. Let the gods of many sizes absorb all of them. After these gods absorbed the blood of the long-lived secret master, some of the demons split, and some of the demons were promoted to the devil again. Although the demon is promoted to the devil, it is a very happy thing, but Fang Han is not happy at all, because the food of a demon, the vitality of the drug, is more than 100 times more than an ordinary demon. Now, the Black Dan, in order to trap the dragon people, it took half a year. With only half a year left, there are so many devils who are promoted and consume more. In other words, after another 4 or 5 months, perhaps 3 months, 1,000,000 days of demon, 1,000 devils, will completely break the grain. So starve to death. Unless Fang Han put them out, absorb the blood of the mortal, the soul, the blood of a city pool. Be a real devil and commit a sinful crime. However, now these demons have all been demolished, only praying, then praying, producing devout willingness, and will not consume human blood. Moreover, his tree of the world, the fascination of the celestial world, and his own supply are somewhat inadequate, let alone feeding the demon, that is a drop in the bucket. Suddenly, Fang Han understood the suffering of the daemon school. The big sects like Yuhuamen are taught every day for the disciples among the sects to eat and drink Lazarus, the medicinal herbs, and the magic weapon. It is not easy to support your family. Fang Han, there must be a road before the car arrives. We still have to find a place to refine the woodland people's world law, otherwise he will always be inside. I have to spend a lot of time to be able to repression. If you encounter an enemy again, it is very likely that he will collide with Huang Quantu and escape, then the chicken will fly. The road is rushing. It is very difficult to refine a heaven and earth law of the ancient giants. My cultivation is not necessarily 3 or 5 months. But I can refine the blood of his body first. It is enough for me to make up his power. He is not so good. The body of the wooden Taoist, in the fight, broke, but the spirit is still around the world of his law. Strengthening the power of his heaven and earth law, Fang Han decided to find a place to refine his flesh and blood. Daobu Jindan, see if you can refine the heavens and the earth, and build a magical power. Where is it better to practice? I can't escape to the door of Yuhua. It is imperative to find a safe place to practice. Right, the ground? No one disturbs me in general, and the depths of the earth can also cover up. The spirit of cultivation and Baoguang are not found to take the opportunity to kill me. After driving the Longdao people and suppressing the wooden Taoist people, Fang Hanshin thought about where to go to practice, quickly refining the blood of the wooden Taoist, and then refining his law of the world. When you think about it, only the bottom is the safest. So on top of him, Jindan shot a sigh of relief from the earth, and the ground melted immediately. He sank into it, like a mud cow into the sea, disappearing without a trace. His emperor's suffocation, more and more pure, is the result of the tempering of the wind and fire. In the past, the place where the emperor's suffocating radiance could only make the local area a few feet away, but now it has expanded a few acres. When the wind and the fire robbed, the power of the magical power increased. He wants to find a safe place on the ground, practice Taoism, and restore all energy. At the time of the heyday, it is safe to return to the Feathering Gate, or else in the present state, when you meet a giant of the age of prosperity, you will die. Killing the three-powered wooden Taoist people, is this kind of difficulty, let alone the Van Gogh giant at the time of its prosperity? Since then, Fang Han has to be careful when facing the Van Gogh giant. As for the second most important thing in the longevity and to cultivate a strong figure who is not dead, let's run. Just as Fang Han got into the ground, there were hundreds of thousands of miles away from here. On a reef island on the ocean, one wearing a black confrontation, a face with wind and frost, and the hand skin withered, seems to have withstood the years. The old man who baptized in time recovered his gaze. This old man is an old man who is fortune-telling for Fang Han. That is to help Fang Han drive away the Dragon Road people, the wooden Taoist people, the hearted old man who triggered their hearts. In the world of Xianhuang, there has never been such a character. Apparently a monk who came from the sky outside the field. Well, it's so good. This child is really ruthless, start decisive, dragging the mud with water, and the calculation is accurate, actually went directly to kill the dragon people, the wooden Taoist. Also succeeded. I don't know how many times more than that, but unfortunately I have not first encounter, or you must be accepted as a descendant. This son is suitable for practicing my great magic, and can practice the great heart magic to the highest realm. As long as the soul is demon, there is an eternal existence. The old man of the demon seems to have seen the scene of Fang Han's suppression of the wooden Taoist people, and could not help but sigh. It seems that a teacher who is very satisfied with the students has the best results in the assessment of the students' conduct. The great heart magic, cultivation to the highest realm, is almost immortal, but in the hundreds of millions of worlds, the past and the future, all kinds of creatures, the heart has a demon, it exists immediately, how can not kill? This kind of realm cannot be imagined. If you want to destroy him, unless you are to live all the creatures in the world, all of them will be immortal, pure yang dao, da luo eternal, this will be able to eliminate the demons. This old man of the demon has not cultivated into this realm. However, in his tone, it seems that if Fang Han inherits his great magic, it is possible to cultivate this realm. What is this respect? What kind of satisfaction with a person will make such a sigh? I came to the Xianhuang big world to find the 3,000 avenues. The 3,000 avenues that came out of the door of eternal life first fell into the world of Xianhuang, and then spread to countless worlds outside the country, countless stars. The third largest wishing technique in the hands of Linglong Shenzhuan, I have no way to get it. However, Fang Han's son actually practiced the big five, large cutting, and large source. Unfortunately, it is not as great as Huang Quan's great reincarnation. This is not useful for me. Panwu Shenzhuan actually put a good big source of technology, said to be the magical power of his own creation, Panwu vigorously magical, really stealing the road. The old man of the devil said to himself, the vacuum yin and yang of the feather door is the great yin and yang technique in the 3,000 avenues. Why didn't you teach this child? This kind of talent, heart, and feathering cannot see the Taisho's 3 disasters and 9 difficulties, the Xianmen 12 laws, is also the catastrophe in the 3,000 avenues. I actually got the big collapse from the hands of the innate hands, and then I got the catastrophe. Thousands of avenues, the more you cultivate, the more helpful you are to the path of immortality, but unfortunately, no one has seen the great fate, and the great cause and effect is in the hands of Buddhism. Accounted for 1,000. Between the words, the old man of the demon is scattered and turned into the most pure heaven and earth, scattered into the vacuum, disappeared without a trace. 3,000 avenues. The old man of the devil sighs, Fang Han naturally does not know. He broke into the depths of the ground and had a depth of 70,000 feet. He suddenly found a crypt, and the crypt was full of energy. It seemed to be a feng shui treasure. So he was in the crypt and put the Huangquan map. Arrange various kinds of prohibition methods to prevent the leakage of breath, and the people and the 8 floating buzzers have entered the space of Huangquan. The hustle and bustle of the Yellow River, the rolling water, is as flowing as ever. But now, this Huangquan holy river is also tumbling up and being shaken by a great force. It seems to be jumping out of thin air and flying out of Huangquan. The power of this shock comes from the other side, the depths of the door of the nose. Deep in the depths of the nose, it seems to block a fierce devil, want to rush out, the world of Huangquan too, overwhelmed, completely reversed. even control this unique device. This thing is naturally a wooden man, the ancient world of the ancient giants. The 100 insects die without being stiff, let alone the giants of the ancient times. Even if only one strength is left, it will be enough to make people in the world of the world chill. A nose. Oh, what? In the depths of the door of the nose, the claws changed into various handprints in succession. The mysterious law of the dragon rushed out of its claws. On the bridge, there were countless iron ropes and chains that run through the woodways. In the depths of the law of the sacred world, he locked his whole person. All the way to the nose of the magic, do not cost the money along the iron rope, input into his vitality, trying to disturb his spirit. Lest he blew himself. The self-destruction of the giants of the ancient times, the power is enough to turn 1,000 miles into a powder. The wooden Taoist, but a little painful voice did not come out, but his side, crushed flesh and blood, turned into a road of rainbow, constantly spinning, being refining, and gradually transformed into a aperture. Blessing is above the law of the sacred world. This is the power of the body that smashes itself in the refining and refining itself. I want to get out. As the blood color aperture becomes more and more intense, the shock caused by it in the Huangquan map is getting stronger and stronger, and there is a tendency for the dragon to get out of trouble. Wooden people, now, you are still dying. The murder of Xian Gong, the conditioning of the vitality, Fang Han recovered a part of the energy, saw the wooden Taoist people dying, cannot help but show their hands, a loud noise, flying their own life. Jin Dan on the road aperture, halo, invasion in the aperture of the wooden path, only a shock, the aperture of the wooden road people condensed and smashed, the huge blood, the vitality, the four sides of the splash, the aperture, exudes the pure yang. The master of the longevity secret, flesh and blood are pure yang. Because they can extract the pure yang from the celestial spirit. These are all big things. Big phagocytosis, immediately cast, swallowing pure flesh and blood into the body of Fang Han himself. It's so refreshing. The flesh and blood of the long-lived secret master is thick. My loss has not only made up for it, but there is still some growth. In a short while, Fang Han's big phagocytosis, the Taoist people's aperture, and the cleanliness of the blood, the huge flesh and blood essence of the ancient giant, the pure body of the flesh, all entered the body of Fang Han, by him half an undead body digested. Fang Han's body suddenly burst into a halo, bloody, a bit like the feeling of the King of Blood Knight. After a long time, Fang Han only digested the flesh and blood essence, and felt that the 7 bloods that he had spurted out were added back, but the lost life was not added back. Only after you find the medicinal herbs that increase your lifespan will you recover completely. This side of the cold does not have to worry only to lose 500 years of life. He has a lifespan of 9,000 years. And as soon as I practiced to the longevity, everything came back. Hey. Fang Han casually waved 3 punches, punched in a row, and the body was filled with endless energy. It seems that how to use the power cannot be used. Moreover, the pure yang of the majestic, the flesh and blood essence was refining and refined by the body, and was instilled into Jin Dan. The whole Jin Dan, once again bursting out hundreds of millions of glaring light, radiant, inside the virtual shadow, seems to be out of nothing. This phantom, the body is up to 1,100 feet, behind the dense, full of thousands of hands, and his body, densely covered with thousands of eyes, each eye radiates a different light, greed, calm, fierce, kind, resentful, happy, thousands of emotions, concentrated in one. Thousands of eyes, heaven and earth law. This is Fang Han. After the 9th weight of the cultivation of the supernatural powers, the world of heaven and earth will be born. What the is this? How can I produce this kind of body, thousands of eyes? After I practice the law of heaven and earth, will there be such a weird thing? But it seems that the power is very strong. Fang Hanshin also noticed it. The form of the heaven and earth law is related to the magical power of cultivation. The magical powers of Fang Han's cultivation are too complicated, and when they are merged together, they have produced such a prototype of heaven and earth. However, this heaven and earth law of thousands of hands and eyes did not come out of nothingness, but gradually disappeared as the blood of Fang Han infused weakened. This is insufficient strength, not enough to consolidate the world of law. Fang Han has 93 magical powers, among which there are 3,000 avenues of Big Cutting, Big Five, Big Source, Big Pudu, and Big Phagocytosis. These esoteric avenues. There are also Zuma Ancient Chi, Desu Mishan Wangquan, Star's Promise Book, Tuxian. These profound and unpredictable supernatural powers are more than the 64 kinds of magical powers of the wooden Taoist people. Much more. Because of this, it is extremely difficult to refine the Golden Dan and cultivate the heavens and the earth. Pangwu vigorously, the real source is Big Source. It is not the essence of the body of the refining and aging wood, but it is not enough to consolidate the powerful world. What's more, most of the wooden body people's physical essence, he was taken to nourish the body. It is necessary to consolidate the law of the heavens and the earth, unless it is the law of the mortal world of the wooden Taoist people, and the asterisk of the saplings in front of the eyes is refining. Forcibly plundering the essence of it, then you can immediately realize the law of heaven and earth, and even with the power of tyranny, rush to the realm of supernatural powers. I just go to the supernatural powers, and change the realm of the heavens, oh. The 7-story Xian Mendan who took the 7 kings of the gods will swallow the whole. The longevity secrets are just around the corner. Even the first secret of the longevity, one show the situation is the second, the undead body. Fang Han knows that he must accumulate solidity now, waiting for the moment of entering the longevity secret, directly cultivated into an immortal body. Fang Han, how are you? You are? I hate. Wangu Shio, it is a bubble. The road to longevity, cut off. Fang Han, I am not wearing a day with you, I want to live and curse you. Curse you forever. Can't grow up. The aperture of the Trojan was swallowed up, knowing that he had suffered a disaster. Although it is impossible to be completely refining by Fang Han, but this will continue, and after all, one day, it will be difficult to escape. Hey! When you kill me, you want to refine the tens of millions of souls. You seem to be more cruel and vicious. It's more magical than the magic road. This time you fall into my hands, it's the karma. It's uncomfortable. Fang Han ha. Laughed, but also, you thought that you learned the curse of the 3,000 avenues, can you curse me directly? You lived in the world, and I don't share the sky, but now you fall to me. In the hands, sooner or later, you have to destroy your spirits. There is no next life, and there is no such a wooden Taoist between heaven and earth. Although Fang Han's means are embarrassing, but he did not want to kill a person, he has been thinking about refining a circle of thousands of miles. Compared with the wooden Taoist people, he feels that he is very kind, so now accuses the wooden Taoist people, it is righteous and ignorant. It is worthy of being a disciple from the famous door. Fang Han, you are so arrogant, you really have no hope, step into the road of longevity. The door to the longevity secret has been closed to you. I curse you, life, and curse you. The wooden Taoist continued to make a curse of sternness. Hey, I can't step into the longevity secret. You see what kind of medicine is this? As long as I am a supernatural power, I will swallow it. You say that the chance to step into the longevity secret is not big. In this world, the curse is useless, and what is useful is matter. In order to deliberately attack the wooden Taoist people, Fang Han shot his heart and waved his hand. The 7-story Xian Mendan flew out and sent out 7 colors of light. The medicine of each medicinal medicine condensed into a mysterious portal. Produced a strong spirituality. 7 life Xian Mendan, how can you have this kind of thing? This is almost the same as Xiandan. And it is 7, it is more precious than Xiandan. It is the key to open the body's 7 life gates and step into the longevity secret. Dan medicine. This? I am not willing, why do you have such good luck? Sure enough, after seeing the 7 decisions Xian Mendan, the wood and earth people's law of heaven and earth trembled, and the mind was in chaos. Good chance. At the moment when the people of Mudao were in a state of chaos, Fang Han suddenly had 1,000 roots infiltrated into the roots of the world tree. It was shot deep into the law of the Taoist people and then plunged into it. Come on. Under this circumstance, the law of the Taoist world of the Taoist people was weak, and the strength of the vibration was reduced. A moment of ease, urging the door of the nose, the power of the bridge, the suppression on the top. The law of the heavens and the earth of the wooden path is once again oppressed. The Yushu Yuanshan was actually suppressed to a few feet. Ah. 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 The wooden Taoist seems to be bitten by thousands of mosquitoes, causing a painful and boundless roar. The heavens and the earth are changing for a while, but unfortunately they are bound to death, and they cannot blow themselves. Fang Han, what kind of wood is your sacred thing? Actually, I can restrain my wood system. I know, I am a giant in the wood, all the woods must listen to me, even your Qing Emperor Mukong. When the heat is shallow, I will also be restrained by me. The wooden man shouted and gave a heavy gasp. You don't tell me what this wood sacred thing is, I am not willing to die. Tell you anyway, you are the one who is going to die, about you have heard of it. In the ancient world, in ancient times, there was a tree of the world that runs through the fairy world, also known as Jianmu. Fang Han's eyebrows. The tree of the world flies out and stands in the air. The origin of this tree is not stronger than you. Can you refine it? It is the source of all woods and your nemesis. When you encounter it, it is life. It's over. The tree of the world. It is actually the tree of the world. This tree has been cut off by the Protoss, crushed, and there are saplings. It is a legend in mythology, it is in front of my eyes. The legend is true. How can you have a sapling? No wonder you can restrain my origins. Without this tree, your head has already shattered. You are not my opponent. Unfortunately, hateful. I got this sapling, and it can be combined into one. Mana is skyrocketing. The body of immortality is a great success, and it can be upgraded to an incredible state of cultivation. More than 100 times more shocked than seeing the 7-story Xian Mendan, the wooden Taoist never imagined that Fang Han could actually have the things of the world tree saplings. This is the magic weapon for all the wood demon, the dream. Now you die and die. Don't waste your strength. Give up your resistance. I will let you die comfortably. Even I can keep a trace of your soul. I will wait for my 8 floats. Inside, claiming to be a world in which you will reincarnate and reincarnate. Fang Han saw that the wooden Taoist people lost their hearts, and they were very happy. They increased the power of the world tree, and the strength of a stock was forcibly plundered from it. Perfused on the golden Dan. The thousands of eyes on Jin Dan's eyes are like the fate of the ancient gods, which is more clearly visible. Fang Han, Fang Han. Don't kill me, I am totally trusting you. How can I completely trust you? Your 8 floating sects, although powerful, but everywhere are flaws. The tower is not concise. If I am in full bloom, I have 100 ways to defeat. Now, if you let me go, I will enter the tower and give you a magic weapon. I am a long-lived mysterious giant. I can refine the next taster. Think about it. The 8 floating towers, the 8 magic weapons inside, have become the next quality device. How much will the power increase? 10 times? 100 times? And I can learn the celestial spirit, feeding the demon. You have raised so many devils, I don't know how much energy I need to consume every day. It's definitely not enough, and after you practice the cost of life, you will need more mana to be able to motivate. Although the world tree can absorb the celestial spirit, it is not enough for you to use. With me, my genius is all for you. From then on, you don't have to worry about lack of energy. The Trojans hurriedly screamed. In his tone, there was actually a few pleadings. Actually, let a giant of the ancients plead, and know that the ancient giants have a strong self-centered existence. Even if Fang Han thoroughly suppresses him, he is also a strong curse. But when the tree of the world came out, he was soft. Oh? You contributed all the celestial spirits you took every day to me. Fang Han heard, really a bit of heart, thinking about it. Do you not cultivate yourself? Do not cultivate, do not practice. I only need a little bit of energy. You can save your life. You can save your life, and the rest of the energy, all contributed to you. I can work hard for you, 3 or 500 years, and then wait for you to practice. If you have success, you can completely suppress me. I hope you will give me a way to live." The Wood Road people hurried. This proposal is really tempting. By taking this person into the 8 floating sects, you can take a lot of celestial spirits every day, feed the demon, and help Fang Han to contribute mana. More importantly, this person can the celestial spirit refines pure yang. Fang Han, accepting him, is equivalent to having a long-lived mysterious giant, and doing cool work for you. This is much more cost-effective than refining. I am also heartbroken. Indeed, the Van Hoch giant who has a long-lived secret is a hard-working thing. This is really good, but I don't have enough strength to surrender him. If he swears, I can't deal with him. Fang Han sinks. It is just to use the great Pudu Zen light to turn him into a devout faith. The king of the night turned into a sacred king. Suddenly, although under normal circumstances, the great Pudu Zen light cannot be long-lived. The ancient giants of the mystery, but as long as the wooden Taoist people are sincere, let go of the soul and try their best to cooperate, it is still possible. It depends on his willingness or disappointment. We can also use this to test whether he is guilty of misfortune. If crossing he can't, then he is hiding the sorrow. If you get it, he will wholeheartedly and surrender to us. Yes, I think so. Fang Hanshi smiled. Wooden people, have you heard it? I gave you the last chance. I know that you promised to be my coolie. I want to have a chance to come back. And I want to try to get it. My tree of the world, but now that you have abandoned those thoughts, you will have a way to live. Otherwise, under the illumination of the great Pudu Zen, you will not be able to turn around. You will be finished, completely finished, you know. If you can really use the great Pudu Zen light to turn a giant of the ancients as a coolie, and wholehearted dedication, it is indeed worth it. The benefits are great, and the willingness to pray every day is much greater than the millions of devils, many devils. A long-lived secret master, sincerely surrender, how much will it produce? However, how can the master of the longevity secret really surrender? Fang Han knows that the wooden Taoist people will definitely hate it. Now it is just a matter of expediency. However, if the other party let go of the mind and take the lead of the great Pudu Zen, then there is no problem. Under the illumination of the Buddha, all resentment will be eliminated. Da Pudu Zhenguang, as one of the 3,000 avenues, has the supernatural power of the power. Even if you have nothing to do with you, kill the whole family and take away your wife and daughter. Under the circumstance, hatred also collapsed and was degraded. Devotion to you. Of course, the premise of crossing is that your own realm is much higher than the other side. Otherwise it has no effect. Like Fang Han before the implementation of the great Pudu Zen light to other people, at most can only cross a fierce tiger, so that he does not eat meat. Now, after getting the inheritance of Linglong Xianzuan, if you truly cultivate this magical power, you will be able to turn the magical master of the magical power. Unless it is a supernatural power, the monks above heaven and earth have a slight resistance. As for the master of Dahua Jindan, that can't be done. Not to mention the ancient giants who have longevity and secrets. People will not move. However, if the longevity secret master is willing to be furbed, it is another matter. You are willing to cooperate with each other. You don't have to waste your mind. Da Pudu Zen light, ferry me. Mudao people trembled and screamed, Fang Han, how are you? You really have a misfortune, I guess it is good. As a giant, how can you really work hard for me? The cold icy voice seems to freeze the air into ice. It seems that you are stubborn. I only use the tree of the world to you up to adulthood and then add myself. Fang Han has increased the power of the tree of the world, such as knocking on the bones, and screaming the wooden people. Although the people of Mudao are full of energy, but in this way, within a year, they will be really sucked out and the gods will be destroyed. I am willing to surrender, willing to surrender. I am willing to take the big Pudu Zen light into my heart. The wooden Taoist people couldn't stand it anymore and roared. That's good, turn the Holy King, you command the demon, many devils, read the 6-word mantra, the great Urdu scriptures, and thoroughly cross the woods with me. Fang Han ha ha? laughed and sat down on the knees. Jin Dan shot a Zen light and first illumined it on the 8 Buddhism. Then the magical symbols of the 5 elements suddenly bloomed again. From the endless void, I grabbed it. The share of the shares of Fuguang blessing. The whole 8 floating sects have become more brilliant. Rotating Holy King, Sun and Moon Fine Wheel, even Black King, Nebula Baby, Pure Fox Little Demon Girl, millions of devils, many devils, all read the 6-word mantra, the scriptures in the Great Purdue Zen. In an instant in the meantime, they gathered into a huge sound wave, and the infinite Buddha light shone and wrapped the wooden god's god. On the face of the wooden Taoist people, suddenly appeared a painful look. Those Buddha light scriptures always infiltrated into his law of heaven and earth. This great Purdue Zen light, without a little attack power, is purely a turn. If the wooden Taoist people do not want to, don't say 1,000,000 days of magic, even if it is 100 million days of magic, chanting the text for thousands of years, cannot move him. Wooden people, you still don't let go of your obsession, and take the big Purdue Zen light into your own heart. Do you want to die? Resist my ferry, I kill you. It is life and death, between you, Fang Han said. Sure enough, this embarrassment, the wooden Taoist squatted, the mind began to let go, let millions of demon and Fang Han's Buddha light into the law of his destiny. Gradually, his sacred law was contaminated with a layer of gold, from the outside to the inside. The face of the wooden Taoist person is transformed from resentment into peace. It seems that the resentment of the other side of the cold has begun to resolve, but it is grateful for the cold. Those who have been turned over by the great Purdue Zen light, even if they are enemies, will die of your heart. This is the power of crossing. However, Fang Han knows that he has not thoroughly crossed the core of the wooden Taoist people, deep in the soul. It will take a long time to get through, at least 7 days and 7 nights. In this way, in the depths of the 78,000 feet of the earth, Fang Han and millions of demons read the scriptures of 7 days and 7 nights, and finally converted the body of the wooden Taoist people into the color of the red gold, and the face of the wooden Taoist it shows the expression of great understanding. Suddenly, I stood up and the other party was sincerely worshipping. Thank you for your help. I am relieved of the shackles for me. At this moment, I feel more calm than ever before. Everything in the past is awkward. Now only under the fraternity of Fang Han Dao, painstaking practice. To make up for my fault. Well, yes, good. Seeing this scene, Fang Han was also deeply shocked by the power of Da Pudu Zhenguang. A giant of the ancients was completely surrendered by himself. And it is self-righteous and free. Buddha is so powerful? It seems that I have to pay attention to it later. Those who have encountered Buddhism have also been so degraded, which means that they have lost their self. For Buddhism, Fang Han's heart was deeply jealous. People become like this, it is more powerful than killing him. Well, the wooden Taoist, you used to be guilty, and now convert to me. Just do a good job in the 8 Buddhism. Every day to supply the celestial spirit, but also to refine the magic weapon. I will find a lot of materials, let you read the Qianlong mystery, then, the 8 floats themselves, and 8 magic weapons, are made into a Taoist. Fang Han immediately assigned the task to the hard work of wooden man. Yes, before the poor road, the sin was too deep, not so much to make up for my sin. The wooden Taoist nodded, and the body moved, suddenly flew into the 8 floating sects, sitting under the rotation of the Holy King, using itself the magical powers, combined with the whole tower, opened a void on the top of the head, and ejected a lot of celestial spirits. This celestial spirit is purer than the world tree. The wooden Taoist people became one, and they were not good for the good people who were special for the benefit of the people. The big devotees kept concentrating on the celestial world, leaving only a little bit of their own life, and the rest were all enshrined. At the same time, he prayed piously that a unit of willingness came out of his body. It was actually gathered into a golden long rainbow, rolling in the 8 buzzards. Suddenly, the 8 floating squads tightened and actually condensed again. A giant of the ages condensed the magic weapon, that is much faster than the practice of Fang Han himself. And this ancient giant is dedicated to the dedication, no reservations. The ancient giants can refine the next quality device. At this time, the gods read a turn, and from the towers of the 8 Buddhism, they received a lot of celestial spirits to replenish and enter the mind. The mana was concise and restored, and the feeling of lack of mana was swept away. Air. Ha ha, having the tree of the world and a giant of the world to provide me with the celestial spirit is really comfortable. I am now against the enemy, and there is no mana defect. With the attack of 100 million horses, I can play hundreds of them. Next, thousands of down. Fang Han felt that the majestic celestial spirits rolled down, nourishing their own 5 knowledge of the sea. The heart is indeed very comfortable. If this continues, he will not be able to accumulate enough energy to change the eccentric world of thousands of eyes. It is much better to have a wholehearted dedication to the Van Ho giant to work harder than refining him. Now, with the wooden Taoist people sitting in the 8th Buddhism, the 8-day floating squad is constantly working day and night. The power of this magic weapon is already bigger than me. The Road of Envy. The essence of the 8 Buddhism, the horse cannot match the Huangquan map. When I cultivate it into the longevity secret, the power will be fully exerted. Fang Han comforted a sigh, opened his mouth and sucked. The 8 Buddhism immediately began to shrink, and he was thrown into the mouth of Fang Han, and he was swallowed into his stomach. Now his body is half an undead body, twisting and changing at will, and can engulf the 8 floats. I swallowed this magic weapon, and I will be contaminated with my own blood every day. Then I will use my temper to force myself to temper myself. The body will be stronger and stronger. Maybe the age of the 8 battalions will become more and more powerful, and the life of the body will be back. Well, let's go to the bottom of the earth again, practice for a few months, wait for the wind to escape the past, and then return to the feather door. Otherwise, this will go out and be chased. I also took this clean time, good. Fix it to consolidate it. After swallowing the 8 floats into the stomach, Fang Han did not go out, but continued to stay at the bottom of the ground, sitting up and down, scrutinizing Taoism, pondering Jin Dan, and cleaning up the battles of his own days. The distracting thoughts in memory are all forgotten, and the mind gradually becomes clearer. He practiced like this and entered a realm of ambiguity. Just as he was practicing in the underground, Hua Qian was also practicing in the door of the feathers. In the depths of the Yuhua temple, in a mysterious time and space, time and outside are not the same. It has been a full month, and only 1 day outside. As one of the 10 gates of the fairy road, Yuhua Temple is the place where the feathered gates live as the fate of the door. It is on the top of the 9-day hurricane, the eternal meteorite, which is an unparalleled Pang Bao, in which countless masters are participating. Running, providing mana, there are some mysterious time and space, you can also reverse the time, the most suitable for practice. Heavenly, what do you think? If there is enough accumulation? If it is enough, take the raw granules and take them. Go directly into the longevity and cultivate the undead body. Hua Qian is sitting in this mysterious time and space, sitting quietly. Next to him, he also sat on a Taoist man, and he was a giant of the ages. In front of Hua Tiandu, in the ancient stove of the Shangpin Dao, suppressing a medicinal herb, this medicinal herb, a powerful heaven and earth law above, is constantly running, like a dragon, like a phoenix, like a tiger hegemony, like a lion, like a dog. This is the birth of a chemical pill, an elixir. I haven't cultivated into the longevity secret, I can't take Xiandan. Otherwise, I will be sucked up by this immortal, and Xiandan will break out and cultivate myself. Hua Qian is quiet. This video is end here. Like the video and subscribe to my channel.